What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Burning Bird. Just checking with you, man. Yeah, man, just a lot of things going on with the Puerto Rico crisis. Everybody saying this is Donald Trump, Katrina. What my belief is, he had a very quick response from Texas to Florida. The reason they're not as quick response with Puerto Rico is purely simple, you know what I'm saying? It is a U.S. territory, so the United States is obligated to basically handle and take care of the crisis, and that's partaken out there in Puerto Rico. But in general assumption of it, if you really want to go deep into the rabbit hole, it's more about, it's an island full of non-white people. So the gravitation of helping the Puerto Ricans with the quick and the swift manner they did with people in Texas and Florida, and probably maybe the whole entire Caribbean island, I'm gonna just generalize that. It's not really in the best interest, if you think about it, in a white supremacist mindset. So the response would be definitely affected and definitely different than what the response you saw in Texas and Florida. Also the pulling out of diplomats in Cuba, it's already gravitated to a favor, basically want to go back into sanction and embargoes on Cuba. And the ban of Venezuela is just a government official, but right now, they like I said, he's not going to ban the people of Venezuela, but it's going to be that type of circumstances, it will lead to that. So it's already a war on Hispanics group. As you know, Hispanics not a race, it's a culture or language. So you got different basic races under this category that, quote, the Republican basically invented from Nixon during the 70s. But you already have a mindset and a point of view and opinion that systematically is targeting certain Hispanic groups or groups that's from a Spanish-speaking origin. So it's a lot of things, like with North Korea, as you see, doing it, like I said, I touched a little bit on in the last video about Donald Trump basically proclaimed to the world almost a war on the world front and on a domesticated on the national front. He declared war on non-whites. And Dr. Frances Cress Wilson, she pointed this out in the ISIS paper that right now, that when their numbers are dwindling, so they're going to get more aggressive and more desperate, because it all goes back to recessive genes, genetics, survival. It's survival versus extinction. So you have a lot right now. You got a crisis that's really not global. It's globally, but it's more of a white supremacy versus the non-whites, as she stated in her book. So there's a lot of things to work out. And I pointed with everybody's talking about Puerto Rico was already financial strapped and their economy was very stricken. Plus, like I said, America, with their ban on foreign ships going, I think Trump got pressure into allowing foreign ships to bring fuel, food, etc. to the island. But as you can tell, if you're in a land of the free, even your territory, you let them handle their own affairs. You know what I'm saying? So it's not really the land of the free to me. It's more it's like an empire, it's Americanism, colonial, imperialist empire mindset, and white dominance. So you gotta think about that. I dropped a couple videos, several videos about what I just touched on this one, but I'm just giving it just a circumvent of it that it's kind of coming full steam, especially with the NFL. Putting NFL owners on the based on the spot. But like I said, they could avoid all this if they just signed Cap. But for them still not. But for them now changing the narrative as free speech, it was never about free speech. It was never about the flag. It was never about military. But they want to make it that way. That's just me. That's just basically my assumption is they do not want it to turn into a racial topic. You know what I'm saying? Racial is still overtone. A lot of people, white people, will constantly change or avoid. That you definitely know when that's the truth. But yeah, I'm just gonna touch base and just dropping something real short. But I'll get with you guys later. All right, one.